It is Wrestling Uncensored. Tonight on the show, we preview AEW World's End. We give our awards for the best of 2023 in pro wrestling, and we review last night's live event that we attended from the WWE. Good evening. It's a holiday edition of Wrestling Uncensored. Johnny is here. I am here. Hello, Johnny.
What's up? Holiday still? You're still on holidays? Thought holidays are over pretty much.
Well, New Year's is coming up, and it's the week between Christmas and New Year's, you know? It's like the holiday season. We're on at 8 o'clock. There's no Smackdown tonight. It's a best of Smackdown. There's no new episode of Smackdown, so we're on at 8 instead of 10 here on a Friday night. Doesn't feel like the holiday season to you? Kids are still off school for another week. Feels like holiday season to me.
Yeah, you see more of them around, those little rugrats, but yeah, unfortunately saw a lot of them last night. And they're very loud,
unfortunately?
Annoying. Well, I think that's what really takes away from
respect.
me. Like,
I took my 6-year-old son to the show last night. What are you talking about?
That's true. That's true.
A little respect.
But we didn't see any. There was no videos this time. Like last time, like you did the swerve dance. Good to see you. I feel like 50 Shades of Blue was here before, but good to see you again, I guess.
Welcome to the new member, 50 Shades of Blue. Da-boo-dee, da-boo-da.
But last time he did the swerve dance, he didn't do any Cody dancing, nothing.
He was doing some Seth Rollins.
I'm very disappointed by it now. Very disappointed.
He likes it. He likes it. All the kids love that. He did the
Drew was the best part of that match.
Whoa, when Cody
Drew saved
came
that
out.
match. Yeah,
yes,
I can see that.
We can get into it. We were at the WWE live event last night in Laval, Quebec. WWE Montreal, WWE Laval. Gotta take a bridge. It's not on the island of Montreal, technically, but they hashtag it WWE Montreal. The WWE does.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
It upsets you. It makes you mad to a great extent, and I'm not really sure why. We could talk about it.
Well, that was my first time at Place Bell, right?
Oh.
Like, I think you've been there many times before. Like, I mean, for, like, WWE, I've been there for different events, but never for, like, a WWE show. So that was my first time there. And fantastic. 10,000 strong, like, amazing energy, atmosphere. But it felt very different compared to when you're at the Bell Center, downtown Montreal.
Welcome.
Different kind of energy. It felt far more family friendly at Place Bell than at the Bell Center. And I think you'll agree with the amount of way the chants were far less vulgar in terms of the chanting. And I feel like Laval is just a different kind of feel towards it, where it's not as rowdy as downtown Montreal is.
Yeah, I think that there's an element to that. It's not downtown Montreal. It's in the suburbs, right? In Laval. Kind of suburbs. It's kind of a city unto itself. I don't know. I know Angelo, our man Angelo, is out there watching right now. Shout out to Angelo. He's from Laval. Is Laval technically the suburbs? I don't know. But, yeah, it does feel like a different vibe for a house show at Place Bell than it does for a TV taping at the Bell Center. Yeah, for sure. But WWE overall, especially compared to the AEW shows, it's more of a family vibe. It's more of a kids showing up, you know?
Well, we saw SmackDown here back in February, and there was a lot of FU Roman throughout almost the whole night on SmackDown and the Elimination Chamber. I remember you were complaining quite a bit about how horrible the crowd was for your kids. So, yeah, I don't think you had any complaints last night. If anything, I heard the wrestlers swearing more than the fans last night.
Possibly. I didn't really hear any wrestlers swearing, but I did. Yeah, I think it's a different vibe for a house show too, that starts at 7:30 at night compared to a pay-per-view that starts at 8 o'clock, where it's a sold-out Bell Center. It's a different vibe. There's more on the line. There's more at stake. House show is kind of fun for the whole family. See the stars, see them win, have them smile, you know? That's the vibe for a house show. Laval is a suburb, Angelo. Angelo is confirming Laval is a suburb. It's not downtown Montreal. It's like a different vibe. It's not quite. They advertise it as WWE Montreal because, I don't know, Montreal is, you know, the place that people know. People don't really know Laval as well, especially outside of the Montreal area. I mean, everybody in Montreal knows what Laval is, but people outside of Montreal don't. So they bill it as WWE Montreal, but it's in Laval, and it's different. Christoph C. says Laval sucks. Interesting take. Shout out Lior. Shout out to CSL Lauren, who's watching us out in Las Vegas. Hope you're enjoying your trip out in Vegas. Shout out to Ryan Katz watching tonight as well. Christoph C. is joking, of course. Laval's all right. I was in Laval yesterday. CSL Lauren grew up in Chambly. My dad grew up in Chambly too, Lauren. So there you go. A lot of people from Laval. My dad grew up in Chambly, so that's Laval. I'm not from Laval. I'm from Montreal. I grew up in NDG.
Well, I live in NDG, and I wrestle in Laval.
Where'd you grow up, John?
I grew up in the country.
In the country?
Hemmingford, actually.
You don't even want to give the name. Hemmingford. All right.
Oh, I said Hemmingford. You know where Park Safari is? You've been to Park Safari recently.
WWE's not going to Hemmingford, I'll tell you that much.
Never.
I have been to Park Safari. CSL Lauren wants to know what street. I don't know. I don't know what street my dad grew up on, Lauren. My dad might be watching. He might be able to clue you in. Angelo says he's lived in Chambly his whole life. There you go. Lior says it's like the Ottawa Senators playing in Canada. Yeah, exactly. It's not quite Ottawa, but it's basically Ottawa.
Right.
Oh, my dad checking in. He says he grew up on Miller Street, Lauren. So there you go. Miller Street in Chambly. I don't know Laval too well. All I know is that the WWE was there last night, and Becky Lynch opened the show against Zoe Stark. I actually missed the match because I was trying to get into the building, and there was a long line, and I missed it. Didn't see it. So there's that.
Wow. I saw it, but I wasn't paying too much attention to it because I just got a lot of food.
Nice.
Excellent food, by the way, at Place Belle. The pizza was fantastic. The fries, fantastic fries. Can't say enough about how good the food was at Place Belle. But I thought it was weird. I'm like, oh, Beck comes out, yay. And then Zoe Stark comes out. I'm like, yay, it's a tag match. I'm like, no, it's one-on-one. For whatever reason, Zoe's going to be a heel tonight. I'm like, okay, fine. I thought the match was fine from what I saw. I think there was one little hiccup in the match, but for the most part, it seemed like for an opening match, I think the crowd reacted to everything because it's the first thing they saw, so people were pretty happy.
Yeah, good. I mean, I think there were some highlights from the show for sure. Kevin Owens showing up. It's Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor one-on-one, which surprised me because I thought we would get the same match that Boston got, which was Sami Zayn and Jey Uso versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest, and then Dominic Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes. But they had been advertising Damian Priest versus Cody Rhodes in that last man standing match, which we got. And when Sammy came out to wrestle Finn, I was like, I guess Jey Uso couldn't get across the border. And Jey Uso wasn't on the show, so I don't know what happened with Jey Uso. No, Jey
I don't think
Uso.
it's a border issue.
No? Okay. He wasn't on the show.
The chamber, remember?
Yeah. But maybe they have to do extra stuff that they're willing to do for the pay-per-view that they're not so willing to do for an average house show to get Jey Uso across the border, you know? I don't know.
I don't know if it works that way, but
I don't know how it works, John. My point is, I thought we might see Jey Uso because he's one of the stars on Raw, but we didn't see Jey Uso. But instead, we saw Kevin Owens because Sami Zayn was getting beat up. The match between Sami and Finn ended in a disqualification when Dominic Mysterio came in and jumped Sammy, and then they were beating up Sammy, and then Kevin Owens came out, and he's on SmackDown. He was not advertised for the show, but of course in Laval, in Quebec,
Wow.
you want to see Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens shows up and cuts a promo in French that was really good, and the crowd loved. It was a really great promo, and then he and Sammy teamed up and beat Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio, which was a pretty fun match. That was pretty great. The crowd was obviously really into it. A crowd, by the way, which was about 9,000 people, and I think that this WWE house show at Place Belle in Laval came close, if not outdrew AEW's 2 TV tapings combined at the Bell Center, which is not good. It was close.
I think it did.
Did they outdraw AEW combined Collision Dynamite tapings at the Bell Center? That's bad.
Well,
it's bad for AEW. Good for WWE, but, oof.
From people that I know that were there working behind the scenes, and I think WWE even said it too, if I'm not mistaken, when their announcement, they said it was a sellout.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 10,000 if that's the case. So
yeah,
that definitely outdrew AEW. And hopefully, with AEW's new VP setup is going to have next year, they'll realize for Montreal next time, do Place Belle. That'll be better.
Well, we'll see what AEW does if they do come back here. I think they could do way better for a pay-per-view. WWE is coming back here, by the way, and if you are in the Montreal area and you want to see the WWE, Monday Night Raw is coming here. A live episode of Monday Night Raw, Monday, April 15th, which is the week after WrestleMania, right? I think.
Yeah.
They do
the week after Mania.
It's not the Raw after Mania, but it's the week after that. So it's kind of in the WrestleMania season. You might expect some interesting things to happen. And tickets are actually on sale now if you have the pre-sale code WWE PRE. All one word, WWE PRE in caps. You could go to Ticketmaster and get tickets now. I'm just telling you this as information. I'm not getting any kind of kickback from the sale or anything. I'm just saying.
You already bought your tickets. So
I got tickets. Yeah, of course I got tickets for Raw. Are you kidding? I want to go to Raw. CM Punk might be on Raw, John. It's going to be great. Probably will be. Punk. I bought tickets because I'm hoping to see CM Punk, basically. And I've got some pretty good tickets, and I'm going April 15th to see Monday Night Raw. And I'm very excited about it because the WWE always delivers a good show. They delivered a fun show last night. It was a basic show. It was a basic house show. It was very close to the house show they did here in August. I mean...
Really?
Yeah. I think Cody even wrestled Damian Priest here in August.
But it wasn't a last man standing match, though. I think that's what made,
I think it was a Montreal street fight, John.
Wow. Another thing, too, I don't know how you felt about it or heard this, but I thought the microphone work throughout the whole night was horrific.
Yeah.
It just felt like garble, garble, garble. It didn't matter what language you were speaking. I could barely make out anything that anyone was saying. I don't know why. I don't know if that was a problem with Place Belle or WWE, but the microphone work was atrocious. The worst I've ever heard for any show.
Yeah. Drew McIntyre picked up the mic at one point during his match with Seth and Shinsuke, which was the main event, which was okay. But
Drew saved it, I thought.
I thought that, I don't know what the hell he was trying to say in that promo. It made no sense to me. It was just nonsense.
Right. I didn't know what he was saying. All I could tell is that people around ringside were chanting "You're so sexy," and I'm sure you heard that chant later on, right? That kind of caught on a little bit, and that kind of played into the match. And really, that's what made that match enjoyable, was because of that. And Drew was playing up to it afterwards. I didn't stay around for Seth Franklin's promo talking about it afterwards, but I mean that really was the important part of the match. Everything else wasn't really important.
Yeah, and I could see you sitting there where you were sitting and I saw you. I looked over once in a while to see what you were doing, and I saw you when Drew McIntyre came out and was doing his pose. You were standing up, and you looked like you'd seen Santa Claus. You just couldn't believe it. You just like a kid loving it. Just you couldn't believe the physique of this man. I could tell how impressed you were,
Amazing.
John, and I was impressed too. The guy is an absolute monster. And when you see Drew McIntyre in person, you go, goodness, what a beast. What a beast he is. So tall, so jacked, crazy. The mass, the definition. He is a huge dude. Huge. Omos is pretty big too. Omos was there. He's a pretty large man, but Drew is almost more impressive because of how he's put together. All the musculature, So vascular, pal.
Yeah, I thought best physique, definitely McIntyre. I thought Finn had the best abs of the night, without question. And I thought, I don't know how you felt about it. I really enjoyed Omos and R-Truth. I thought, albeit a squash match, I thought that was a perfect squash match. Really exciting, entertaining for someone who just gets beat up. Like they made it very enjoyable.
Yeah. Truth is really good. I was happy to see him.
And he was bumping well. Like, he looked kind of slow when he wrestled JD, but against Omos, he was bumping like crazy for him.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
He was good. Cody was good. Oh, Cody, by the way, retweeted me. Do you see that?
Well, I saw that, and that kind of became like a news story that apparently Cody is like sick or something before the match, right? I mean, you're going to post this now, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So we can all see it.
I can show everybody. Cody retweeted me, and it got a lot of tweets and likes and things.
Yeah, Omos is still wrestling, Angelo. Believe it or not, we saw him. Like, you haven't seen him since SummerSlam, but we saw him. He actually showed up last night.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like he wrestles on the house shows only. He's not wrestling on TV. Maybe they're trying to make him better, Maybe they're trying to improve Omos.
Also make him more of an attraction, I guess.
So here is Cody Rhodes. Fun fact and overshare, I vomited what felt like half my body weight 30 seconds before my music hit. Ha! That's not funny. Thank you, Montreal, for lifting me up to be able to fight. I thought Cody had a pretty solid match there, going through a table against Damian Priest. And he quote tweeted me to post this, which I thought was cool. And that was my tweet. Adrenaline in my soul. Damian Priest at Cody Rhodes. There they are. So thank you, Cody, for that. Good man, Cody. People crediting me, People didn't credited me on the AEW stuff, but Cody Rhodes, giving credit where it's due. And I also posted a picture of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and I plastered a big Dave Simon MMA on top of it. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah,
I was like, you can't steal this.
It's a lot harder to steal that, yeah. Well, they could always cut it out, but yeah. It's harder to do that.
It's harder to steal that. Boom. Take that. There they are together. But there's my name all over it. You can't steal that, internet. Dripogram or whatever he is.
It's hilarious. But that was really like again, you couldn't make out a lot of what they were saying on the microphone, but I could kind of tell because like I could see what they were saying, and I could tell there was family there just by judging who I've seen before in the past. And that was really like heartwarming seeing that was like Sammy's like kid there, the first time seeing him wrestle. Like that's incredible, like you just feel that emotion right there. I'm just sitting right there and they're right next to me kind of thing almost. So it's just a great moment for him. And I'm glad that he got to have that with Kevin too.
Yeah. His whole family seemed to be there. A lot of people, they were hugging and kissing after the match. It was nice to see. And not just, first time with his wife and his son watching him, but also in Laval, where he is actually from, where he grew up. Like he's a Laval guy, and it was in Laval. Like it's almost, too perfect for Sammy. And the fact that they let Kevin show up and do the show there was really cool. I saw Kevin's dad walking around before Kevin came out, and I was like, what's he here? Maybe he's just here watching the show. But then I was like, maybe Kevin Owens is here. And then he was here, which was pretty good, man. Surprise Kevin Owens, I thought was nice. Nice of the WWE to get that done. Not have Kevin Owens go work in wherever he was supposed to be, Houston or wherever he said he was supposed to be last night and on the SmackDown brand, and go to Montreal and do the Raw show. So that was cool. Cool to see KO. KO and Sammy back together too, which is not something we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was kind of special, the show. You saw things that you don't usually see on television, so that was really pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Something that wasn't pretty neat that we don't see on television, like we saw Rhea, Ivy Nile, and Shayna Baszler, that three-way.
Yeah.
Definitely not the highlight of the night, sadly, but
not the best.
Thankfully, Ivy didn't break her neck like Sabu.
It looked like she almost did. Yeah, she got dropped. She took a move kind of weird on a back body drop, right?
Well, I think she thought it was something, and then Rhea just let her go and just went right down almost on her head.
Yeah.
So that was kind of scary, and she just rolled to the outside for a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like it was just going to be a singles match after that, but thankfully, I think she's okay. I mean, we haven't seen her really wrestle matches. I think maybe just a battle royal, that's it. So that's kind of a rough start.
Yeah.
See that, and they're going to be wrestling on Monday too, her and Rhea. So
ooh,
hopefully they work out that issue by the time they get to Monday. I'm pretty sure they will. They've wrestled that match a couple more times before that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. This was it was kind of rough. It wasn't the best match on the show. What was the best match on the
Rhea's
show? Maybe
over.
Probably Sammy and Kevin against the Finn and Dominic.
It should have been the main event. I don't that again, questionable booking on that one. Like, it's the hometown guys, and you're bringing Kevin as a surprise, like, and make it into a tag match, and you don't put that as the main event.
World champion.
It's nice.
World champion, world title match, main event's the show. I get it.
I'd still put the hometown guys, especially when you have both of them. Like,
yeah,
and he's got his family in the front row. Like, it should have been them. It's only a house show too. It doesn't need to be the world title match as the main event. Like, to me, like, it was Drew made that main event, but I don't think the crowd ever got any hotter than they did in that tag match.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I was a little surprised Bronson Reed, just seeing him in person. Maybe I'd never seen him before. He's a little short. Like, he looks shorter in person than he does on TV. He looks gigantic on TV, but when I saw him in person, I was like, oh, he's like really wide, but he's not very tall. I don't know. Maybe that's why they haven't pushed him further. They shoot him really well on TV because you can't really tell. I haven't really noticed, but like when I saw him in person, I was like, man, the ref is taller than him. The ring announcer, like, he's the same height as a ring announcer, and she's not very tall. What's going on? I was surprised at like how unimposing Bronson Reed was in person. Some people look like monsters, some people look less monstrous in person.
And think about it, he wrestled Ricochet, so imagine he wrestled someone a bit bigger. That would have taken away a lot more of his mystique, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed that too a lot. Like, just being a lot closer to the wrestlers, like, you can tell it's like, yeah, like, TV does you justice a lot of times. Like, you guys look a lot more incredible. You look more like superstars. Now you just look kind of normal-ish.
Yeah. And that Kaden Carter or Katana Chance, I don't know which one, the small one is really small. Like, she's so small. I saw her, I was like, she must weigh like 90 pounds. What happened? Did we lose Johnny? Are we having issues? Did I just lose Johnny? Uh-oh. Johnny. Uh-oh. I don't hear you, Johnny.
You don't hear me?
Oh, no. Now I hear you. All right. I think we're good.
I heard you.
I was saying that Kaden Carter or Katana Chance, whatever her name was, the really tiny one, she's very small.
Katana.
Yeah, she's like, like I was like, whoa. She looks small on TV. She looks even smaller in person. She looks like she weighs about 90 pounds.
It's funny. Like someone next to me is saying she's like small, like Rio, and
no, Rio's
people
bigger
just
than
looked
her.
at us like, yeah. Well, it's just funny. Like people, because we said someone from AEW, people looked at us like ashamed. Like, how could you say such a thing? You know, you can't talk bad about like WWE people, put them towards like AEW kind of thing. It's like they're all just because they don't wrestle in WWE. It's like it's lower level. It's like, you know, WWE.
Yes.
I'm sure some people think that way.
Yes, of course. There's definitely an opinion that, you know, you suck in AEW, but once you go to WWE, you're great. Like people that thought CM Punk was garbage a few months ago now love him. If MJF is to go to WWE, same deal. Same deal with Cody Rhodes. Right? I think we're having some internet issues here with Johnny. What's going on? Johnny, are we losing you?
Every time you keep talking.
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. I'm losing. I guess I'm losing you. Are we dropping out, Johnny?
You lost every now and then. Every time you had the big speech, like it just kind of dies.
Has this been happening the whole show for you, Johnny?
No, it's just the two times right there.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll power through it and be all right. But yeah, there's definitely a feeling from a lot of wrestling fans, especially WWE loyalists, right? That if you're in AEW, you're nothing, and if you're in WWE, you're doing great.
Well, this came from like little kids, you know. I'm like, oh, you little brats!
Oh, really?
But again, I'll be nice. I'll be nice because I know get your little guy, and I'm sure he has his favorites in WWE and all over the place. So,
well, he went to Dynamite too, so he likes both.
There you go.
Right? I think if you're a real wrestling fan, you appreciate both wrestling companies because they both have a lot of good wrestling in them and a lot of good wrestlers, right?
Yeah, but especially as a kid, I get it. You know, a lot of people who are back in the day, they picked WWE or WCW. I get it, you know, but they're both enjoyable. But I could get it. Like I always felt WWE was better than WCW. I'm not going to disagree with that, but I enjoyed what WCW brought as an alternative.
Yeah, but there were times that I think I liked WCW better than WWE in the late 90s.
When the NWO first started, sure. Yeah.
You know? They had some hot times and WWE was kind of, but yeah, you know, they came back, but I feel like sometimes AEW has some better times than WWE and vice versa. And I think, you know, I looked over at the year that was 2023, doing a little bit of research for the show here tonight where we're going to kind of look back at 2023 and give you our best of. And I feel like AEW has done some incredible wrestling matches where WWE has done some more compelling stories. And maybe has some bigger stars and maybe some better put together shows. But as far as the in-ring content, I think AEW is doing some incredible stuff this year. And we'll see where 2024 leads us. We'll see where tomorrow night leads us. I want to start with tomorrow night, and then we'll get to the 2023 best of year-end recap, wrestler of the year, match of the year, all the of the years for you from Dave and Johnny. How's that, Johnny? Sound good? World's End?
Yeah, I guess. Do we start with Dynamite first before we get to World's End, or?
Sure. Jon Moxley beat Jay White and Swerve Strickland after the DDT thing he does on Jay White for the pinfall to win the Gold League in the opener of Dynamite this week. Thought it was a pretty solid match. And a little bit surprised to see Jon Moxley win the Gold League. I did think that the finals would be Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson. I think that was my pick, right? But maybe I think you I think you convinced. I thought Eddie Kingston was going to win, but then you convinced me that Bryan would win because it's on pay-per-view and we need Bryan on pay-per-view in the finals. And then I said, oh, yeah, It'll probably be Swerve and Bryan, and Swerve will get the win over Bryan. But no, Swerve loses to Moxley here in the triple threat. Well, Jay White really takes the fall, who continues to take falls, and I don't know where he's going. But Moxley gets the win, and he'll take on Eddie Kingston in the finals of the Continental Classic coming up at World's End, because Eddie Kingston beat Bryan Danielson on Dynamite this week.
Yep. I know you were very disappointed.
With a power bomb, and then he pinned him in the middle of the ring, a wrestling ring, on Dynamite. Bryan Danielson he beat, John. Bryan Danielson.
Also out-chopped Bryan Danielson, put him down on his butt twice by out-chopping him. Eddie Kingston did that. I know you weren't too pleased about that, but that's what happened. You know, I don't remember CM Punk losing to Eddie Kingston ever, but I guess Bryan Danielson, also apparently claims to be the best in the world.
Well, because he's very giving, John. He's he's giving to a fault.
Clearly.
He's giving to a fault. He always has been. Always has been. This is what Bryan Danielson does. He loses to people because he wants to be good to people and help them and give them opportunities. It's what he's always been about.
But
he's that, and that's why he's loved and respected. He's not trying to beat everybody and be the champion right away. Even when somebody else is the champion, call themselves the real world's champion because they're so egotistical and driven by their own ego that they can't see beyond that and look to help the business or raise other people up to their level. Some people can't see that, and that's why some people are hated in the wrestling business, where others like Bryan Danielson are loved by everyone and respected by all the peers and thought as the greatest in the world and possibly the greatest of all time, because not only is he so great and so incredible, but he is so giving because he gives you victories over him that he knows mean so much to you because he is so great and you are so not. And Bryan gives that to the other wrestlers. I'm not talking about Eddie Kingston. I'm talking about every wrestler Bryan ever loses to. He gives that to them because he is great and they are not. And he wants to make them better so that maybe they can be as great as him and wrestle him in a main event to make some money. So fine, give it to Eddie Kingston. People love him. He's over. He works hard. He deserves a win. He's going to get his belts back. He'll beat Jon Moxley, too. This is Eddie Kingston's time. This is Eddie Kingston's big moment. He's going to beat Moxley, win all those belts in New York, where he's from. It's going to be a nice deal for Eddie Kingston, and he's going to be the big New York winner at AEW World's End. Listen to what I said closely there. That's a bit of a spoiler for the preview. Eddie Kingston will be the big New York winner at AEW World's End. The benevolent Bryan Danielson. Saint Bryan.
See, again, the problem, when I said this last week too, it's like you're going to have a pay-per-view and Bryan Danielson's not going to wrestle on it.
I know.
That's kind of bizarre. So I don't understand. Like, fine, it's all great to put Eddie Kingston over and all that, but you hurt yourself by doing that because you're trying to sell a pay-per-view and the self-proclaimed best in the world isn't going to be on it now because of this. So I question that decision right there.
Yep. I don't disagree. I think Bryan Danielson is the best in every pay-per-view he's on. The pay-per-view is better for it. Every show he's on, obviously he improves because he's the best. But I don't know how many more people would buy the pay-per-view to see Bryan Danielson versus Swerve or Bryan Danielson versus Moxley. I think the appeal of Eddie Kingston in New York is something for the fans, especially that'll be in the building. I don't know. I think the pay-per-view's already sold. The pay-per-view's built around MJF. It's built around Samoa Joe. It's built around this devil story. It's not built around Bryan Danielson. He doesn't need to be on this show. He's wrestled a lot on TV over the past several weeks in this Continental Classic and had some very good matches, including the match with Eddie Kingston. But I don't think he needs to be on this pay-per-view. I agree that every pay-per-view is better with him, but I don't think he needs to be on this one, It's like, whatever. Wouldn't be an important match. He'd either be on the pay-per-view to lose to Moxley or lose to Swerve. I think the more important thing coming out of this for Bryan Danielson is the promo he cut afterwards saying, every time I go for a championship in AEW, I lose. And I'm starting to wonder, I say I'm the best in the world, but am I? Am I still good enough? Can I still do it? Which is an interesting story and hopefully culminates in him becoming a world champion or the world champion at some point in the future, 2024.
Which is supposed to be his last year wrestling, right?
Yeah. I mean, don't you think he should be the AEW world champion at some point? Just to make the AEW world title mean a little bit more? Because Bryan Danielson is a former title holder.
I think they had their moments, and they didn't take advantage of it. And now it's kind of too late, it feels like. If it's going to be his last year, now you just want to get the best matches out of him. It shouldn't be a title reign, I don't think. It's kind of sad, but at this point, you just want to get the best moments from him instead of a lengthy title reign, because you only have so many moments left with him, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a lengthy title reign, though. I foresee the AEW title kind of bouncing around in 2024. We've seen a lengthy title reign that I believe is about to end tomorrow night. So I don't think we're going to have such a long title run for the next champ, or maybe the next couple champs in AEW. Don Callis cut a promo with the Don Callis family with various pictures for Will Hobbs and Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher with kangaroos and stuff. And then Sammy Guevara shows up and he's like, how come you haven't called me? I thought I was still in the Don Callis family. And then Don Callis has a picture with Sammy and his baby with the Don Callis family. It's all like art that he's had made for the team for some reason. And then he has done this art stuff in the past for Jericho, and it's come back to bite him, and it comes back to bite him again here in this weird ass segment that AEW did. And then Sammy is like, who told you to put my baby in that? And he's questioning Don's ability to lead the group. And then Don starts burying Sammy for being injured with a concussion for the past 5 months and on paternity leave with his baby. And then Don tells Sammy to choose his real family or Don Callis family. Like, all this is coming out of nowhere, right? Like, Sammy Guevara's been gone for so long, and then all this stuff is playing out on TV. And then Don says, Sammy, you're not only going to be known as a bad wrestler, you're going to be known as bad of a wrestler as you are as a parent if you side against the Don Callis family. So he's saying you're a bad parent and you're a bad wrestler if you're not with us. So Sammy attacks the guys, and then they beat him up. And Chris Jericho saves Sammy because Jericho was teaming with Kenny, and now he needs a new tag team partner, so why not? And then they hug because they're back together for some reason. And then the lights go out. No, Ricky Starks and Big Bill attack Jericho and Sammy. They come out of nowhere, and then the lights go out, and Sting and Darby show up, and they take out Big Bill and Ricky Starks. It's like a whole mess of stuff going on in this segment. I did not like it. I was just like, what? And it sets up a match for this pay-per-view that we have tomorrow, by the way. AEW World's End going down tomorrow night, Saturday night. We'll be on right after the show to review AEW World's End final wrestling pay-per-view of 2023. Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Konosuke Takeshita, and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin, an 8-man tag made in that weird-ass promo segment that they did. Hobbs and Starks are friends again? Like, didn't they just hate each other not long ago? Team Taz and all that, wasn't that a thing?
Well, I don't think that they're friends. It's just, they just happen to be common allies against common foes. That's about it.
Common foes.
And, yeah.
And Jericho and Sammy Guevara are friends again for no reason. It's just...
Yeah. Well, I told you back, like, what, it was the summer or whatever, like, the Sammy, like, back and forth, like, he started the year as a heel, then he was a tweener in that 4-way against the MJF, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin. Then they turned him face with Jericho. Then he turned on Jericho. Now he's back with Jericho. All within the span of 1 year, he did like 5 turns.
Uh-huh.
And I told you, like, this is what's going to, like, they can get Sammy over, but they keep flip-flopping him on what side he is. It kills him all the time. And they've done it again.
Yep.
I don't get it.
I don't really care about this match, but I assume that the baby faces will win, right? Jericho, Sammy, Sting, and Darby, they're not losing to Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Takeshita, and Hobbs. Come on.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong, but my guess here is that they want to build towards Sting's last match, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to get Sting on this pay-per-view because this is the second to last pay-per-view, so they needed to find a reason. Also, I'm thinking Sting's last match makes a lot of sense. I've been kind of saying it. Him and Darby have been undefeated in AEW as a tag team for the last couple of years, and they never got a tag team title shot. Like, Sting's last match should be for the tag team titles. So them getting the win here should give them, or build towards them getting that title shot at Revolution, I think. I think Sting and Darby versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill for the AEW tag team titles, that should be Sting's last match. I know it's not the big, be cool for Sting's last match, big cool opponent. Really winning the tag team titles, I think that's the cool thing for Sting. That defines Sting's AEW run, is teaming with Darby. It's not the big, he's got to wrestle Jericho. He can kind of wrestle Jericho already. There's really nobody for him to wrestle. It'd be like a cool match at this point. It's just win those tag team titles. That's the cool part right now.
You think he should win his last match, and then they vacate the tag belts and have a tournament, another tournament,
or Darby has to get another partner or whatever, kind of like what MJF is doing or did.
Yeah, they could do that. But the baby faces will definitely win, right? This match, the 8-man tag.
On Saturday, yeah, I see that happening.
What else happened here on Dynamite this week? We had Christian trying to do a face-to-face interview with Edge, but then Edge showed up and started fighting Christian, and they had a pull-apart backstage brawl. No DQ match for the TNT title on this pay-per-view. Should be good. This was kind of a nothing segment. This whole TV show was mostly about, the finals, Moxley, White, Swerve, and then Bryan and Eddie Kingston. And then the MJF, Samoa Joe stuff against the masked goons sent by the devil. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that served its purpose, though. I mean, I get that, and that's the main event, so that should have been the last thing. It made sense.
Is it the devil or what's that thing called? Man, bear, pig. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that?
Talking about Al Gore again?
Yeah. There you go. I got Paramount Plus, and I've been watching some South Park that I haven't seen. I haven't watched South Park since like a long time. And I watched some of the past couple seasons of South Park. There was a thing with the devil and a man, bear, pig eating everybody. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Oh, you're in imagination land, I'm guessing now?
I don't know.
Sounds like.
I don't think so. I watched some of those movies that they have.
Oh, okay.
What do you call it? The Panderverse. I watched that.
Yeah.
And I watched...
That's a newer one.
I watched another one. I forget.
You probably watched the COVID specials, no?
No, I watched a different one. Panderverse and something else. I think I have it up here. It's been pretty good. Yeah, Nick Wayne's mom is not a good actress. I don't know why she's in this group. I don't. The cred.
She's Nick Wayne's mom.
It's like a
prime... the Logan Paul thing, yeah.
Yeah, Logan Paul, like South Park movie cred thing. It's pretty good. Take on Prime Energy, Prime Drinks, or whatever. That was a good one. I like that. Anyways, Christian and Edge are going to wrestle. That'll be fun. And then the Devil, right? The Devil sends the goons to come to the ring. It's 9:59 p.m., and the show's supposed to end at 10 when this match begins. And you go, what? Samoa Joe.
Said
what?
We'd go all the way until we got a winner kind of thing. No, it wasn't that said, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's kind of dumb. Like, how long are we really gonna go here, guys? I don't believe you're gonna go 15 or 20 minutes past the hour. You're gonna go maybe 5 minutes, and that's what they did. It's not like they went on and on. Like when you start a match at 9:59, you kind of figure, oh, this is gonna be a short little thing here they're gonna do, which it was. Samoa Joe didn't come out for the match. He was writhing in pain backstage as if he was attacked by the goons, but there's no goons, so we don't know if he was actually attacked, but he seems like he was attacked. So MJF decides to do the match on his own, even though his arm is in a sling. A third goon during the match hits MJF with a lead pipe outside the ring, and then a goon hit MJF's own Heat Seeker piledriver to pin MJF. His feet were kind of on the ropes, the goon. I think he was supposed to cheat and get his feet on the ropes, but he couldn't quite keep his feet on the ropes for the whole 3 count, so it kind of looked like he beat MJF. I mean, they technically did beat MJF, but, he was supposed to make MJF look a little stronger than he did because the feet didn't stay planted on the ropes for the whole pin. One of the other goons tried to kind of put the feet back on the ropes, but it didn't really work. The finish was a little...
It's too much.
Yeah.
You have enough with the whole distraction with they hit the pipe right in his injured arm.
Multiple goons hitting with a pipe, but they had to add the feet on the ropes. Yeah.
You don't need the feet on the ropes. I get what they're trying to do, but it's too much.
So the goons, I don't know what they're called, right? They don't have a name. I don't know who these guys are. No one has unmasked these goons. I think there were 4 of them. 4 of them that attacked MJF after the match. The goons are the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. I don't know if they've been given a name or whatever. The Devil's Goons.
Henchmen, I think.
The Foot Soldiers. I don't know. Henchmen. So... Samoa Joe, after the match has happened, limps out like he's been attacked with a steel chair, chases away the goons. And then the Devil appears on the big screen, and then a message says, "Pleasure doing business with you." And then Joe hits MJF with the chair, and he hits him a couple times, and he stops limping. He has faked it, and he is in cahoots with the Devil and the goons. So Joe probably knows who they are, but Joe is not the Devil, but he's in cahoots. And he hit the Muscle Buster on MJF and stood over him with the world title. So Joe is now aligned with these goons and the masked mystery devil character, and he has fully turned on MJF going into his world title match at World's End tomorrow night on Long Island. This was something.
That's great.
It was odd. It was it was an interesting turn of events. Like I didn't hate it. I'm curious. I want to know what they're going to do. How does this all turn out? I think MJF is losing the belt. I think Samoa Joe probably walks out as the new champion, or somebody else walks out as the champion. Whoever the devil is, or Adam Cole or something. I don't think MJF walks out champion at the end of the night. I think there's a big reveal, something happens, and MJF is no longer champion. He wrote a thing in the Players Tribune. I don't know if you caught this, but it was
little things, yeah.
Yeah, I read the whole thing, and it definitely read like a farewell to AEW, if not because he's going to WWE, then for a while to heal up and rest up some injuries. But it did kind of feel like I love AEW, but I must go now. And this is the end, and I don't know. Definitely a lot of interest and questions surrounding MJF right now. His future, the match, the belt, the injuries, the contract, the WWE. A lot of questions around MJF right now. Huge match with Samoa Joe tomorrow. And I think that this piece in the Players Tribune, reading all this stuff about what MJF is going through, this was a thing written by MJF, a long piece. You can go read it. He tweeted it out. Like it adds more to the match because you go, oh, okay, this guy kind of sounds like he's saying goodbye. So this match isn't just a match. This is not MJF going to Long Island, celebrating, having a big win, and going on to 2024 stronger than ever, better than before, doing the same old thing. This is World's End. This is something ending. This is maybe the end of an era. But I think MJF is dropping the belt tomorrow night, probably to Samoa Joe, although I could see it being someone else. Maybe Jungle Boy? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think the best guess is Samoa Joe because that's who he's wrestling. It would make the most sense that the guy who's challenging the world champion would win the title if the champion is dropping the title, but it's pro wrestling and you never know. But I think Samoa Joe probably walks out of World's End world champion of AEW with a little help from whoever the devil is, and hopefully we get a reveal and a resolution on all that. It's about time. What do you think? Is it happening, John?
Well, I think we said, or I said, like last pay-per-view, we needed the reveal then because I thought if you didn't reveal it then, it was kind of dragging. And look what's happened. It feels like it's kind of dragging. I kind of agree with you in the sense that MJF is going to lose here because it feels like they started that on Dynamite where it's like, well, he's injured, so we got to get all the titles off him. And Joe needed to do this in a sense because we were going into the match. They were both faces. So there was no real heat with them wrestling each other. Now we have heat now. Now we have motive for MJF to want to fight back. Before it was like, oh, well, you help me out, I'll give you an opportunity kind of thing, sportsmanship. Like, that doesn't sell. We need some hatred. We need some, like, I want to break your face in. And now we got it. So now I'm much more excited for this main event than I was before. And I think it should be very good. Hopefully we get the reveal. I don't think we need the reveal because I think just Joe win the title is enough. But again, it's dragged. So it'd be nice to get the reveal. I wonder what would happen though, because if you end MJF and then you reveal the devil, well, then what happens?
What do you mean? What happens?
Like,
I mean,
who goes against the devil? Like, the whole point of the devil thing is like to destroy MJF, but if you already destroyed him, well, what's the point? Like, we don't need to know the devil then.
well, then maybe you have like a heel faction ruling over AEW, and some baby faces get together to seek revenge. They take out MJF, and other people want revenge. Maybe it's, the devil isn't Adam Cole, and Adam Cole wants revenge. Revenge,
That would
John.
work the
Revenge.
best. Well, you'd actually need Adam Cole not to be the devil, but again, I thought Adam Cole was the devil from the start. I'll stay with that because I can't think of anyone else who would be better suited to be the devil at this point.
Jungle Boy.
I don't know if he's better suited though. Like, I think Adam Cole is a better talker. I think because he's had a better story with MJF. I think it just suits it better. Yeah, Jungle Boy would be interesting just because the heat that he could get. There's potential, but I feel with Adam Cole, it's like, it's more of a slam dunk. You want to go with that.
But that's operating under the assumption that MJF is going to continue to wrestle for AEW in 2024 and beyond, which I don't think is a done deal. And
again, why reveal it then?
Because if Adam Cole is the devil, right? You have to have a payoff match against MJF at some point down the road.
Ideally.
You would think. Although, they had two guys calling themselves world champion in AEW, and they never had a payoff match for that.
Exactly.
Things happen. But I think if Jungle Boy is the devil, you could not have a payoff with MJF, and the heat would just be on Jungle Boy and how much AEW fans hate him for Rio Glass and other things.
I feel he should be involved in some capacity. I mean, maybe he can be one of the four goons. Apparently, Sean Spears was supposed to be one of the four goons. That was the rumor going on the internet I saw. But Sean Spears has left AEW now, so he's not one of the four goons now.
Okay. Oh, he's left AEW? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay.
Wants to just be a family man now. That's respectable.
Maybe he thinks he'll get a call from WWE, too. I mean, that might happen for him. In some capacity, Big wrestling company, always looking for decent wrestlers to use in various ways. General manager or coach or wrestler or whatever, Look at Nick Aldis. Who would have thought that they would use him as the general manager of SmackDown? I still think that's kind of weird. It doesn't seem like they have any plans to make him wrestle either. He's just the general manager of SmackDown. Isn't that a weird move that they've done there? Like, why did they do that? It's very strange.
Well, I think they just finally realized they need authority figures for the shows again.
Yeah.
And Adam Pearce, it was too vague, his role. And he was doing too much because he was doing everything.
Yeah.
So I think it was good to make it two separate kind of guys, and they kind of feud with each other a little bit. And I think it leaves the possibility of him wrestling, which he could.
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting. I mean, they made Teddy Long wrestle, and that shouldn't have never happened, but it did.
But if he comes out and wrestles and he's like huge, jacked, and good at wrestling, and then goes back to being the GM, people will be like, well, what's this? Like Teddy Long comes out, he wrestles, it's not impressive. If Nick Aldis comes out, no shirt on, people will be like, well, he looks bigger than all the wrestlers.
I mean, he's in good shape. I don't know if he's...
No, but he's an imposing guy. He's huge.
Yeah. But again, it depends who he wrestles. I think if he wrestles Randy, it's an okay fight.
I think he might wrestle Roman at some point. There was some friction there on SmackDown. I could see that. Roman versus the GM of SmackDown, who really runs the show, that type of thing. They could do it on SmackDown. Doesn't have to be a pay-per-view match or PLE, whatever, I think that might happen. But they're just not using him as a wrestler. I found it strange to hire him and then just be like, nah, you're the GM of SmackDown. WWE audience doesn't really know you, but we'll use you like this. This is how they will know you. WWE does that sometimes, though, right? They've always done that. They use people in different ways. You're like, oh, this guy was a wrestler? I didn't know that.
I definitely think Aldis will wrestle in WWE one day. It's just right now they need a character as the GM of SmackDown. He
Yeah.
can do it, so why not? It works.
All right, let's get to this AEW World's End pay-per-view. So we are both predicting MJF to drop the title to Samoa Joe.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. MJF, end of an era. What a year he's had. The Blackpool Combat Club. Oh, wait a second. Bryan Danielson's on this show.
Oh, was this just announced? Like, what happened?
I guess. I don't know when they announced this, but this is a cool match. Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia versus Brody King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Roosh.
Okay.
I guess it's everybody that was in the tournament. It's not even everybody that was in the tournament. Roosh wasn't in the tournament.
No, Roosh was in the tournament.
Oh, he was. Oh, yeah. He wrestled Moxley here. Okay, well, it's a bunch of the guys that were in the tournament, I guess, wrestling each other.
Okay.
Because they have nothing else to do. Right? Because all these guys were in the tournament, right? Claudio, Bryan, Briscoe, Garcia, Brody, White, Lethal, Roosh. Yeah.
Okay, it's nice, but is it for anything? Like, we already have an 8-man tag.
Yeah.
We have another one just for the sake of it.
I mean, this could be very good. You see these wrestlers that are in this? This is one team. Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia. That's a pretty cool team. Like, I get it. It comes out of nowhere, but the other 8-man tag came out of nowhere, too, in that crappy Don Callis segment. And I think this match might be better. Because on the other side, you got Brody King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Roosh. That's a solid team, too. It's a cool match. I'm going to go with Claudio and Bryan's team to win. Because,
Yeah, I go with the faces on that one. Yeah. Just because I feel... I just feel there's more heels winning so far, right? I think because we have Joe winning. And, well, Kingston's winning. That's kind of even right there. But I feel there's more heels going to be picking. So, yeah, to even it out more, I would say the faces win this one.
Kind of a cool match. I like it. Miro versus Andrade. Miro's wife is Andrade's manager, so they're wrestling each other for some reason. Yep. Could be good.
The reason
I think it's winner gets their release from AEW.
Okay, I don't know about that. Why would winner get released? That's kind of
because I think ridiculous. They both want their release from AEW, but are not getting it. So, I don't think either of them really want to be there.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the way with Miro, at least. I think Miro wants to be there. He just wants a good spot.
How's that working out for him?
Well, that's why you got to wait. If you're waiting for a good spot, you got to wait for that to open up, I guess. But I think Miro's winning this match.
Okay. I'll go with Andrade.
Okay. Just because it's against me, that's it. There's no.
I think Miro's gonna win. Yeah, I wanted to go against you for no reason in particular, but no, I do think Miro's gonna win because he never loses. Miro, right? When's the last time you saw this guy lose in AEW?
That's a great point. Well, Andrade's strong enough. I mean, he's
the
only guy
lose recently.
Yeah, we've seen him. Well, that's it. Maybe give him the win now because he lost recently. I could see that. It's not like this match is very 50-50.
Yeah.
I just would give it to Miro just because I feel like they're building towards something. They haven't done it yet. So why stop that at this point?
Yeah, I think Miro probably gets it. Swerve versus Keith Lee. They were tag team partners. They broke up 6 months ago, and now Keith Lee is mad about it. I mean, what? It seems like Keith Lee is mad because maybe he thought when they broke up he would be the star, but it turns out he's been genetied by Swerve, and he's mad, but Keith Lee's the babyface, which, I don't know. Keith Lee is just mad at Swerve because Swerve stabbed him, double-crossed him, something. I think Swerve's going to win, though, because Swerve is on the rise, and Keith Lee is just kind of there. He hasn't really done much in AEW recently. He was teaming with Goldust for a while. That was weird.
Well, Keith Lee, like, if you watched Collision last week, he kind of explained it a bit. Like, Swerve, dropped a cinder block on his knee, stomped it on his knee, and took him out for a while, and he hasn't been the same since, kind of thing. That derailed him in a sense.
But he came back, and he's wrestled matches and won matches since.
But he's never been the same. That's the way his story is.
Yeah, so but that's stupid because he's come back since then, and he hasn't come after Swerve. Don't you think cinder block, boom, you come back, as soon as you're back, you attack Swerve? No, he's just done other stuff, and now he's like, Swerve, I think he's been a jerk to me, so I'm going to get him. What? It came out of nowhere.
It's really something where it's like they kind of forgot about it because they went in different directions with both guys.
Yeah.
And now they're just like, well, they both don't have anything right now, so let's finish this off.
Yeah, let's give Swerve the win and keep it moving.
Yeah, I think Swerve's going to win. But I think this is going to be a very good match, actually.
Yeah. Swerve's been incredible lately.
Well, Keith Lee is very good, too.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both really good. I think the match will be good. I think Swerve will win. Speaking of great wrestlers, Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland, Edge versus Christian, no DQ match for the AEW TNT title. This could be match of the night. Damn.
Well, the way you keep telling us all the matches, this is definitely worth $50 right here.
Yeah.
We're getting good 4 to 5 matches where it's like, yeah, that's my 50 right there without question. And there's still 10 more to go. Well, not 10, but at least 8 more to go?
Yeah, a few more. 4 or 5.
Well, as of right now, right? We're doing the preview. I'm sure there'll be at least 2 or 3 more matches added before we get to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, they haven't aired Rampage yet, right? I think Rampage is on later tonight. So they may add a couple matches. Also, this is 11 matches that I have in front of me. They may add a couple.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angelo says he thinks Christian will retain with outside interference. Angelo also thinks MJF will remain the AEW World Champion. I think Christian will... I don't know. That's a tough one. I could see Edge winning, because Edge has been chasing him for a little while. Christian's been champion for a while.
Yeah.
But Christian has a lot of backup, He's got Nick Wayne. He's got the Luchasaurus or Killswitch or whatever he's called, who I haven't seen in a little bit, right? He hasn't been around so much.
Maybe this is his return.
Maybe he returns to help Edge.
Maybe.
If that happens, I could see Edge winning with those kinds of circumstances. But with all that Christian help that he's got, it's kind of stacking the deck against Edge in a no DQ match. Could be a lot of interference against Edge. And I don't know who Edge has to help him in that effort against Christian's team, because the guys that have helped him, Darby and Sting, they're busy. They have another match. So I don't know who Edge has as backup here. So I think Christian, it would make sense if he won, but I don't know. I get the feeling they're going to give it to Edge. It's a tough one for me. I'm going with Edge.
I was going with Edge. I'm pretty confident in that one. Christian won the first one. Edge wins the second one. They'll do another one eventually, too, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Christian won the first one. It makes sense that they would give Edge this one. And then Edge would be the TNT champion, which is kind of cool.
That's nice to have.
Yeah. And this could be, match of the year, match of the night. This could be really good. I'm looking forward to Christian versus Edge. We've got Timeless Toni Storm defending her AEW Women's World Championship against Riho. And, of course, I talked about it a little bit last week. But I believe AEW is going to do what AEW does, and they are going to cut short a hot gimmick in the women's division to put over one of their favorites in Riho. You know, I think they should have Hacksaw Jim Duggan come out with her. Riho! You know? I think that would get her over.
Interesting.
Anyways, I think Riho's going to beat Toni Storm, and people are going to be mad, but that's just the way AEW works. People do love Riho. You know, she's got her fans. Toni Storm has her fans. I think it's Riho time. I think Riho becomes the AEW Women's World Champion again.
Well, I disagree with you on this one. I think Tony's winning. I don't think Tony's time is done yet. I think we're just beginning this reign. I think it'll be definitely a long reign. So Riho is just one speed bump. Like, it'll be a very competitive match. It'll be like, oh, it looked like she was going to win kind of thing. But no, Tony will find a way to win. And she'll still be champion.
Okay. I think that should happen, but I don't think it will. Julia Hart defending her AEW TBS championship against Abaddon. Yeah, I think Julia Hart will probably defend the title. She will win. This isn't a match that I'm super interested in.
Yeah, I'm not hyped for this match, but this kind of match can surprise you kind of thing. This is them giving Abaddon a shot. She's been with them since practically, year 1, year 2?
Yeah, early.
So now let's see what you can do. Giving you a lot of time, giving you the moment. Let's see what you can make with it.
Big pay-per-view title match for Abaddon against Julia Hart. Did we see Julia Hart on Dynamite this week? I know we saw her buddy Sky Blue beat Chris Statlander after interference there from Julia Hart. And Willow Nightingale came out to make the save after Sky and Hart attacked Statlander. Yeah. Sky Blue getting the win over Chris Statlander. Big win for Sky Blue on Dynamite.
We also saw Saraya and Ruby Soho, I think, on Dynamite. And they have a new member in their group now.
Yeah, Saraya has Harley Cameron in her group now. And Ruby doesn't seem so interested in having her with them.
Doesn't really fit with what they were kind of going with whatsoever. But yeah, that's what is happening, because when you just decide to drop QTV, they still have people that they have that they want to use. So now, we're just going to fit you in this hole instead.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, don't think perverted. Come on.
I don't know what I didn't say anything, John. I didn't say anything.
Your face said everything.
Exactly. On the pre-show, we have Hook defending the FTW title in an FTW rules match against Wheeler, Utah. I think Hook will win.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the pre-show, right? I mean, I'm not expecting anything big to happen there.
He's from Long Island, too.
Oh, that's a good point, too.
Yeah. He'll win. It's FTW rules for his FTW title. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's only one title, right? It's not for Wheeler's pure title, so yeah.
Yeah. And there's a 20-man battle royal for a future AEW TNT championship match on the pre-show. And they have not announced the participants, but a 20-man battle royal for a title shot on the free pre-show tomorrow night. Any guesses as to who might win? I mean, I don't know who's going to be in it, so it's kind of anybody's guess. Anybody's guess. I mean, pick a guy that's not on this pay-per-view. I mean, they have most of their roster on this pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm thinking either Scorpio Sky or Ethan Page. A guy like that, I think.
I'm going to go with Pentagon.
That's not bad. But I guess I'll go Scorpio Sky, actually.
Where's he been?
Exactly. So, just give him something. Who knows if these guys are even in this battle royal, right? So
yeah,
we'll wait and see. Just random guesses here.
Oh, yeah, Orange Cassidy isn't on this thing. He's the international champion still, right?
Yes, but I believe they're doing a match on Rampage, so they might have something off that match, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is AEW World's End going down tomorrow night on Long Island, and we will be on right after World's End to recap the action for you, give you our match of the night score on 10, and all that good stuff. Join us here on the Ringside Report Network. As, of course, the 30th of December, it will be our final show on the network of 2023. But this is our final episode of Wrestling Uncensored of 2023, so I did want to kind of recap the year in professional wrestling, give you our hits, and not really the misses, just kind of the best, the highlights of the year. Before we start, though, I definitely want to make mention of a few wrestlers that we lost this year, notably Bray Wyatt, Jay Briscoe, and Terry Funk. Just some shocking losses to the pro wrestling world, among several others, but definitely the passing of Jay Briscoe and Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk touched many people in the wrestling business, and it was some very sad times. And I just want to take a moment to remember those guys and the great contributions that they left to the world of professional wrestling. So yeah, I mean, Jay Briscoe had some amazing matches just this year. Bray Wyatt had a match at the Royal Rumble this year. And I don't think Terry Funk wrestled this year, but knowing Terry Funk, you never know. You never know. So, rest in peace to those guys, and 2023 definitely marked by the passing of those three great legends and several others in the world of professional wrestling. Johnny, let's get right into the business. You want to mention? Okay, mention.
Well, just superstar Billy Graham.
Yes.
Iron Sheik.
Wow, was that this year too, Sheiky? Wow.
Yeah, it's been a rough year. It's been a very rough year. Lanny Poffo. I met Lanny a couple times. He was always a great guy. And I think it happened early in the year, but it was Jerry Jarrett too, if I'm not mistaken. Passed away this year.
Oh wow.
Also, a guy I wrestled, Rob Rage, a friend of Antoinette's, is actually. So that was very, very sad. Like right after he had a match, it was back in November. I remember that was very tragic. I remember I was in Ontario when that happened. We weren't far away from that show when he passed. That was very sad. Like he was always a really nice guy every show I went to. Like always very caring, considerate, very friendly. Like you don't see that a lot in wrestling too. So someone who's just like considerate about every little thing that you do. So it was very sad to have that happen.
Well, rest in peace to all those people, and of course, so many others that we lost this year in professional wrestling. We will not forget you, Johnny. Let's get into the big business. Who is your WWE male wrestler of the year for 2023?
Well, he didn't wrestle much, but for me, like when Roman Reigns wrestled, that was the biggest thing on television, or the biggest thing like on my screen. So for me, Roman Reigns was the best thing.
He didn't wrestle very much. I saw a stat that said Seth Rollins has 55 title defenses and Roman has 54, and Seth has held the title for 7 months and Roman's held it for 3 years. He really doesn't wrestle much, that Roman Reigns. Is that possible? Is that a real stat, or was that one of those things on the internet you see that's not real?
I don't doubt that it's possibly real, but it just goes to show you, like when Roman wrestles, it's a big deal, and when Seth wrestles, it's like, well, that happens all the time. It's not a big deal.
Well, John, I'm going to disagree with you here, and I'm going to go with my male WWE wrestler of the year. I was thinking about giving it to LA Knight because of the incredible year that he has had, the ascension to the top. But when I looked back, he was definitely up there. He had a great year. But when I looked back at the year, I looked at the work, at the matches, at the consistency of high level, top quality main event matches, and I looked at the top superstar on Monday Night Raw, and that is Cody Rhodes, my wrestler of the year, male wrestler of the year for the WWE. He had some incredible matches with Roman Reigns, of course, at WrestleMania, with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. He had that whole feud with Brock Lesnar. Cody elevated everybody he was in the ring with and was working as hard, if not harder, than everybody. All the house shows, all the TV tapings, all the pay-per-views. The guy did not take a night off. He did the work, as he says, and that was evident this year. He went strong this year. Minimal breaks, if any. Didn't seem to have any injuries. He threw up last night and then went through tables with Damian Priest. I mean, this guy works hard. I've seen him on 2 house shows this year working hard for the WWE, and I got a lot of respect for the man, Cody Rhodes, and he is my male wrestler of the year. I think Roman is great. Roman is a top talent, but I feel like Cody has worked harder for the WWE this year than Roman Reigns has.
I could understand that, but the way I saw it, and we talked about it throughout this year, there were moments where it's like this Cody run is kind of running a bit dry here. Like, okay, the Brock thing was good, and then what happened for a little bit? Like, wasn't there like one PLE? Like he just was on the Grayson Waller effect?
Yeah.
There were moments where there was a bit of a stumble, and it even became part of the story where it's like, oh, guess you're not finishing your story. And they gave him the thing with Jey Uso for a week or so to make it kind of a big deal. And then
tag titles for some reason,
Exactly.
Yeah.
He kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit there. Like I'm not saying like.
Sorry, he did a pay-per-view match with Dominic Mysterio this year.
Again, yeah. Well, because you felt Brock should have been there, and Brock wasn't going to be there, and they dragged that out as well. Like they probably shouldn't have, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that just kind of it derailed him a little bit. So that's why that kind of took away from me with Cody. I had him number 3 behind LA Knight.
Interesting. You ranked them. How many did you rank?
Just 3.
Okay.
Just ranked more than that.
I wanted to know if you had a top 10 here that we could go into. How about male wrestler of the year for AEW?
Well, that's really not difficult.
I think we could say the same guy. It's MJF.
Of course.
Yeah.
Without question. What a year. Incredible.
Incredible matches, incredible title run, great promos, everything he does. Better than everybody else. Better than you, and he knows it. Tremendous. The man. And the babyface turn, crazy.
And at like 26, now I think he's 27, but still, like, to have that kind of year, like, it just shows you, like, he's not only the future of wrestling, he's the present of wrestling right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing what he's able to do this year.
And
one of the best years I think anyone's ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it seems to have taken a toll on his body. He says his hip hurts, his shoulder's been messed up. He's hurting, but he deserves all the accolades. He's the AEW World Champion, and he is not only my AEW male wrestler of the year, he's my overall pro wrestling wrestler of the year, MJF. Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
I agree. He did more than Roman this year. There's no question about it.
Top champion in the business right now. Top world champion. Yeah. I mean, Roman, his reign kind of means so much more, but MJF is the top working world champion in pro wrestling. And he's the future of pro wrestling and the present. Amazing. I'm looking forward to the match tomorrow.
I just look at the matches, like every pay-per-view, like the fact that, except maybe the 4-way, I guess. The 4-way
I thought the 4-way was good.
It was okay, but It was definitely like the lowest of all of them, I thought. I even thought like the Tanahashi match was a bit better because there was a bit better of a story going into it, where the four-way was kind of all over the place a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all right. It was still good though. But everything else I thought was just like top notch. Like, just, you need to watch this match. It's one of the best things going right now in wrestling. And I thought he always delivered. Like, every time he was out on television, even if it wasn't the best stuff, he made it entertaining regardless.
The pay-per-view match with Adam Cole, the TV match with Kenny Omega, and, of course, my match of the year in AEW, and really my match of the year in all of professional wrestling, the Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson from Revolution back in March. Amazing. The greatest Iron Man match I've ever seen. One of the greatest matches you will ever see. Match of the year in AEW. Match of the year in all of wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. MJF, Bryan Danielson, Iron Man from Revolution was the best wrestling match I saw this year.
It was up there. It wasn't my best, but it was definitely up there without question.
Okay.
I definitely thought it was one of the best matches. It's a big reason why I thought MJF is the number one overall wrestler of the year, without question. That match definitely helped elevate him without question.
The Collision match with Kenny was incredible too. Like, he had some really good matches. Now I'm gonna list off some of my match of the year candidates for you for AEW, John. We'll get to WWE match of the year and then the overall match of the year. I kind of spoiled mine, but I want to know yours. I'm gonna list off some match of the year candidates that I had for AEW, and I want to know if my list has your match of the year, because I think it might not, because there were that many good matches.
Not.
There were that many good matches in AEW this year that you could go through them and list them all and miss a couple, and it might have been your favorite, because AEW had some great matches. I'll tell you, when I went through the match of the year candidates for AEW compared to WWE, I had a lot more candidates in AEW. Which says
I get
something.
that. I mean, but like, kind of showed last night, like,
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Wrestling,
no, wrestling doesn't matter. The in-ring content does not matter. It's secondary to everything else. But at the end of the day, you go, you buy a ticket, you're sitting there watching people do wrestling. Like,
right.
You watch pay-per-views, it's wrestling matches. So I get that the story and the production and the pageantry has become what it's about primarily, and I get that, and WWE has made that work for them because it's a show and it's entertainment and it's all of this. But fundamentally, pro wrestling is what happens in the ring, and I think AEW has done that really well. It doesn't necessarily translate to good business. It doesn't necessarily translate to tickets sold, but it's, you can't really argue that it's critically very, very good. I don't care who you are. You could be the harshest critic to AEW. You can't watch Bryan Danielson and MJF and say, well, that sucked. That was not good wrestling. If you say that, you don't really understand wrestling. Even Jim Cornette, I'm sure, liked that match. I
think the only criticism... No, I think he liked that match.
Okay.
But the only criticism to that match was the whole MJF threw the drink into the kid's face. That was pretty much
I didn't like
the only
that.
truth.
Sure.
Yeah, you didn't like that too.
No.
So
here's my list of great matches that I saw this year in AEW, okay? Bryan Danielson versus MJF Iron Man match, the best. MJF versus Kenny Omega Collision. Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley Texas Death from Revolution. Okay?
Right.
Hangman was on this list a couple times here because Hangman is pretty goddamn fantastic. Blackpool Combat Club versus The Elite Anarchy in the Arena from Double or Nothing. Will the Ospreay versus Kenny Omega from Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Darby Allin and Sting versus Swerve Strickland and Christian Coffin match from All In.
Interesting. I liked it. I don't know if I put it on my list, but yeah.
I loved it. CM Punk versus Samoan Joe from All In.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
I get that, yeah.
Young Bucks versus FTR from All In.
Yeah.
Christian Cage versus Darby Allin from Wrestle Dream. Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. from Wrestle Dream.
I didn't actually watch Wrestle Dream, so.
Oh, okay. And Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page, Texas Death from Full Gear. I'm guessing that your match of the year is not even on this list for AEW, right? That's how many great matches we saw from AEW this year. But all those matches, right? Pretty damn good.
But again, it was very close. Like, I had like Joe and Punk up there. Like, that was close. Even Kenny and Ospreay was up there as well. But nope, that wasn't my favorite match. Like, again, it's when you're watching it and you're so into it. That kind of helps a lot too. Watch it live, and that may have hurt the Ospreay and Omega match because I saw that on tape.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of hurt that a little bit. Like, it was still good, crazy, like very enjoyable match, and I could see how a lot of people find that's their match of the year, and for Punk and Joe as well. Like, for a while, I was thinking that was going to be the match of the year, but it's one of the matches, and it's close to an hour long. I think it was a match on Collision. It was FTR against Bullet Club Gold.
Yes,
2 out of 3 falls match.
Mm-hmm.
I think I told you about that match, like how this was like not only like one of the best matches of the year, but maybe one of the best matches I've seen in like a long, long time. Like, it was like, this is the definition of tag team wrestling. They just did, to me, it felt like everything and more. Like, I couldn't believe what I was watching as I saw this live too. And we're lucky because I saw it where picture in picture, it wasn't in picture in picture. I just got it completely full screen the whole time. So 58 minutes just going like that. It wasn't even a pay-per-view, but it honestly felt like the best match I'd seen, especially a tag match too. Like, I don't know if I've seen a tag match that might be the best tag match I've ever seen.
Yeah. Pretty excellent match. That's your AEW match of the year. Is that your match of the year overall? Let's hear about your match of the year for the WWE. What's that?
Well, again, like, it helps with Roman, and Cody was up there too. I mean, to me, it didn't get any bigger than that.
Yeah.
And maybe it would have been my overall match of the year, but again, didn't see it live, watched on tape. But to me, like, that was the most over thing. And I could imagine live, people thought Cody was going to win. And watching those near finishes, like, wow, this was more incredible when I think back on it.
Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns from WrestleMania. That is also my match of the year for the WWE. I didn't have that many options. Most of my options came from WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte from WrestleMania I thought was excellent. I remember
my women's match for WWE.
It was my match of the weekend for that WrestleMania. Pretty damn close to match of the year overall. But Cody versus Roman, it's got so much significance historically. And Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew triple threat for Mania was actually pretty damn good too. And Cody and Brock at SummerSlam I thought was incredible. Cody had some really good matches this year, and I thought he had match of the year in the WWE at WrestleMania against the Tribal Chief, the number one guy in the game, Roman Reigns. So that's our WWE match of the year. So your overall match of the year is the tag team match, FTR versus Bullet Club Gold, and my overall match of the year is Bryan Danielson versus MJF, Iron Man match from Revolution. Despite the great year the WWE has had, and despite the difficult times that AEW has had, our match of the year overall for all of pro wrestling, both of us coming from AEW. Different matches too, which tells you how good the in-ring content has been in all elite wrestling in 2023. It has been great. Just because you are critically successful does not mean you are financially more viable than the other company. And AEW is learning that. Nevertheless, great matches this year. Great matches. And let's just throw it out. Tag team of the year in AEW, FTR, right? Pretty easy.
Not number one overall too. Like, yeah.
Yes.
No question about that.
How about tag team of the year in WWE.
Like, for most of it, it's Kevin and Sammy, no?
Yep,
But
I think it's them.
they didn't last the whole year, though. That's the problem. Like, and I
So
feel that hurt them a lot. I felt that hurt them a lot.
okay,
And as much as it pains me a little bit, Judgment Day
no,
did last the whole year.
it's been so boring. It's not been good. Come on, man.
But they were consistent. They were consistent. But I go with Priest and Finn with this. I don't say the whole unit, obviously. But Priest and Finn, like, they're very good. They're one of the best tag teams right now.
I thought Kevin and Sammy was better, and they reunited last night, John. So they're still going strong.
That was nice, but that was a one night thing, and you live in the past with that stuff. It was nice little thing that we got. It was a great moment they had at WrestleMania. I know a lot of people love that match. I thought it was okay. I thought way too many super kicks, but by the way, way too many super kicks last night. People do it way too many super kicks. But yeah, I got Judgment Day actually as number one. Like, I had Sammy and Kevin, but they were number two.
How about the female wrestler of the year, AEW?
That was very difficult, actually. Like, I know, yeah, because I thought Jamie Hayter was good, but again,
hurt.
Like, yeah, that's it.
It was pretty easy for me.
Well, it goes to Toni Storm, but
yep.
I really thought about it. I'm like, Jamie Hayter, like, that first half, like, wow, she was on another level. Mm-hmm. But then Toni just took it. So,
and she had the gimmick change that's really gotten over for her. She's become the champion. She's had some good matches. Toni Storm is my AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. Do you have an AEW Women's Match of the Year?
See, this was tough because I look back on it. I'm like, there was no match that really like stood out. There was a couple of good matches, but like amazing match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually went back and watched like some Ring of Honor stuff, but then I'm like, that doesn't really count towards AEW. Like, there were some very good matches. I watched Athena and Willow wrestle. That was a fantastic match.
Yeah.
And arguably that was the best match. But again, that's Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that really counts. So I'm not going to count it.
Okay.
So looking back on it all, albeit I wasn't a huge fan of the way it all came together, I get it. I'd have to go with the All-In match when Saraya won the Women's Championship in that four-way.
Yes.
It wasn't a long match, but it served its purpose, and everything was exciting to watch in the weird way it all came together. But heels, and well, she's a face now because it's her hometown. But it worked though.
And I think the WWE Women's Wrestler of the Year is pretty easy, but maybe
of course.
Maybe we'll disagree. But she has run the division by herself on Monday Night Raw. She's always on top. She has become the face of Monday Night Raw, the leader of the Judgment Day, the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley. She's the leader of Judgment Day. She's the leader of Judgment Day. They all take their cues from Rhea Ripley. She is not only the number one women's wrestler in the WWE, she's the number one women's wrestler in the world today, and she had the best match of any woman in the major companies this year against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley is number one. Bianca Belair had a very good year, though. She had some injuries. Her feud with Damage Control was the most consistent feud that happened in the WWE Women's Division this year. No real feuds, nothing really happening. Charlotte was kind of in and out. Becky did a thing with Trish, but no big feuds in the WWE Women's Division this year other than Bianca and Damage Control. And I thought that Bayley and Io and Dakota even, and now Asuka and Kyrie have done a really good job. I think Damage Control has had a really good year, but it's Mommy's year. Rhea Ripley. Mommy. She's amazing.
I'm not gonna disagree with you. Like, Rhea's definitely Women's Wrestler of the Year in WWE, and she had the Women's Match of the Year with Charlotte. However, that was WrestleMania, and then after that, not really anything
not her fault.
Great happened.
Look who they've given her to wrestle. Nobody's. Over and over again, nobody's. and they keep Becky Lynch away from her for some reason. What are we waiting for? WrestleMania? Please give Rhea Ripley Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I don't know what we are waiting for. Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, Doudrop, Chelsea, Xia Li. I mean, all these people, Zelina Vega on pay-per-view, all these people you have thrown at Rhea Ripley this year since WrestleMania, it's been an absolute joke. The only real stuff she's doing is in Judgment Day. All her matches in the women's division have been a joke. And she steamrolls over these people. I mean, they're not at her level, and for some reason, the other real star on Raw, Becky Lynch, has stayed away from Rhea the whole time, when it seems obvious to everyone that they should probably wrestle, because they're the only two real stars. Becky is the only real challenge to Rhea Ripley. However, they've stayed away from each other. Hopefully, they do it at WrestleMania. I don't know why they wouldn't, right?
A couple of things. You had Ronda leaving. Ronda never interacted with Rhea. You had Trish Stratus, and she never interacted. All these matches you could have possibly done, and you never took advantage of it whatsoever. The only thing you really did was, what was it, Zoe, and you did Nia, and was Shayna in that match too, I think? That was pretty much it, that four-way at Crown Jewel, I think. That was all they pretty much did. And then she had a bunch of matches against people that weren't really ever over. I mean, it's kind of like what they did with Roman too. Just, destroy everybody. However, Roman destroyed names, where Rhea really hasn't destroyed names and kept all the names away from her. So, she's the women's wrestler of the year, but it's not saying much because not much was really happening. If anything, this was a lot closer, because I thought Io Sky was up there too.
Yep.
But I felt Io hasn't done enough yet, though, sadly. But it was actually close, because I feel like she's almost done as much as Rhea, and in a short amount of time.
I think Io's had better matches consistently than Rhea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a pay-per-view of the year for either company?
I mean, because we were at Elimination Chamber,
yes,
I feel there's always going to be a special feeling for that one.
It was good too.
That's it. It's tough. So I kind of want to just take that one out in a sense. Because, I mean, it probably
just
was.
Give it to the Chamber. That was my show of the year. I mean, we were there. It was awesome, but it was also awesome.
Okay. I'd give it to Chamber. But if I'm not giving it to Chamber, I thought WrestleMania was also fantastic.
Night 1 or night 2?
That's a tough one. I go with more night 2.
Yeah.
Because that had the three-way and the main event. Yeah. So, but again, that was just fantastic.
The Gunther match and the Cody match, WrestleMania night 2, really good. Really good pay-per-view. AEW, hard to choose a pay-per-view of the year. They're all pretty much solid 8s, they're all pretty good.
I felt All In, that really delivered. That had the feel to it. That had consistently, I felt like almost every match was, if not great, good.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that was the most consistent pay-per-view AEW did the whole year.
You have a feud of the year for AEW. Let me give you a couple picks. Hangman Page versus Swerve.
Okay.
They did some stuff. Christian versus Edge.
It's up there.
MJF versus The Devil.
Yeah, it's up there.
And, of course, CM Punk versus everybody backstage. I think that was the feud of the year. I think that wins. Wasn't booked, wasn't on TV, but I think that was the most compelling thing AEW did this year.
I
CM Punk drama. CM Punk drama was the most, the biggest story of the year. All that stuff.
To me, Collision, when it first started, was the best wrestling show I was watching consistently. Mm-hmm. And I had to watch every week. And I think CM Punk was a huge part of that. And whatever he was doing was the most important thing going on. So if you're on the best show and you're the lead guys, it makes the most sense. Whatever you're doing was the most important thing. regardless of how the fans, sometimes they cheered him, sometimes they didn't boo him, but there was always a major reaction for him.
Mm-hmm. So what's the best feud you had this year in AEW? Did you pick one? I think Swerve and Hangman was pretty good. Punk and Joe?
I like
Punk and Joe was good too, yeah. Yeah, okay. How about feud of the year WWE? Cody Brock, Roman Cody, Sammy Bloodline, Cena Bloodline.
I mean, Cena Bloodline's been going on for years now, no? I mean,
that's right. It'll never end.
Yeah, it'll never end, yeah.
I think Sammy and the Bloodline did a lot of stuff this year, early part of the year. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's up there. I just feel, because Cody, that was like a big deal when he won the Rumble.
Yeah.
And it felt like that took over everything.
Yeah.
Not that the Sammy thing wasn't big and it was fantastic. Loved it. But I think Cody. I'd go with Cody versus the Bloodline.
Yeah. Cody Roman, finish the story, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. It was big. Sammy and the Bloodline was big too, though, and it lasted to WrestleMania and beyond. They had tag team matches afterwards, the tag team title run, all the stuff with the Usos and Solo and Roman, and
it never really didn't like, actually.
It lasted a while. I didn't love the aftermath after Mania.
Yeah, the aftermath wasn't great.
Yeah. Breakout star of the year in WWE for me has got to be LA Knight. Started the year basically not a big deal. Ends the year one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling.
Well, he started the year in that Mountain Dew match, right? So, yeah, like he definitely turned it around.
He started the year being a heel to lose to Bray Wyatt in a Mountain Dew pitch black match, which was not great, which was not a great spot for him.
I believe your worst match of the year, if I'm not mistaken, you said back then.
I don't want to give that award now because out of respect for Bray Wyatt. But, yeah, LA Knight has had an incredible turn this year. Went from a heel doing kind of some weird stuff, not really going anywhere, to one of the biggest baby faces in the company. A possibility to win the Royal Rumble, although at this point it seems like Punk will do it. But LA Knight has had an incredible 2023. I think he's going to have an even bigger 2024. Yeah, it's not over. People love this guy. And I think people see, like we see, that like, hey, LA Knight was probably going to win the Rumble. He was like a good pick, but now that CM Punk's here, you know, he's kind of taking his thunder. And I think a lot of people are going to support LA Knight even more because here's a part-time guy coming in, stealing the thunder of a homegrown guy. You know, not homegrown WWE, but kind of like organically grown in WWE to become this star. And WWE fans have seen him rise to get to this point. And here comes CM Punk, this disgruntled old guy who's all mad, and he wins the Rumble instead of LA Knight. I think that'll be a thing for LA Knight and will propel him forward and get him more favor with the audience. So I love LA Knight. I think everybody loves LA Knight. What everybody's saying, LA Knight. Yeah. I mean, he's fantastic. And I wish him all the best. I want to see good things happen for him. I think a lot of wrestling fans feel the same way. Like, we see him and we're like, yeah, go. Like, we want to see him win. We want to see him have success in wrestling. He seems like a guy who's worked for it, and he's at this spot, and he deserves to be there. And he's going to keep fighting and keep getting better and make sure that he stays at the top. There's something about him. Good year for him. I hope he has an even better 2024.
It really just goes to show you, like, you can just catch on, and the fans, once they get attracted to you, like, it's like a rocket ship almost, like right to the moon pretty much with him. Like, I didn't feel like he had the best matches, but because he was so over with the fans, it kind of didn't matter. And eventually, he got on to PLEs. But that took a while. And that's what kind of hurt him, too, when I was ranking with a lot of stuff, like put him number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Like, it was only like a SummerSlam that he got number 1. Like, he got a match, right? The Battle Royal that he had.
He didn't have a lot of big matches this year. He just caught fire this year. But I'll tell you, when he did have his big match and he wrestled Roman Reigns, he delivered.
Oh, yeah.
That match was very good. So I feel like, he didn't get all the opportunities this year because he was still on the rise. But when he did get that title shot, it was like, okay, people wanted him to win, and it was believable, and the match was very good. He went in there with Roman, and he kicked ass. So I think that was a test for LA Knight, and he passed. He passed very well. That's why it was tough to give him Wrestler of the Year, because of the lack of big matches. Yeah. Cody had those big matches. He had the big match with Roman, big matches with Brock. That's a lot in a year. To wrestle, to have major feuds with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, that's big, And the matches were very good. Like the payoff matches in both feuds. He had two of the biggest feuds in all of wrestling this year, Cody Rhodes, and the payoff matches in both instances were excellent. So it's hard to not give it to Cody. It's hard. But LA Knight, just based off, what he's done with the limited opportunities, put himself in contention, which says a lot about how far he's come and how impressive he is right now at this point in time. Shout out to Harold Schneider dropping a super chat. He says, agreed, LA Knight was the most fun to watch. Thank you, Harold. He was a lot of fun to watch. Angelo says pay-per-view of the year, in my opinion, goes to All In. Kyle Salisbury says, Cody is boring. He needs to bring back the mustache gimmick and cover that tattoo. I don't think that's going to happen, Kyle. I don't think that's going to happen. People are liking the American Nightmare. I don't think we're going to go back to dashing anytime soon. And my breakout star of the year in AEW, I think should come as no surprise, is Swerve. I mean,
that's no surprise.
He started the year as just a guy in AEW, just a guy, came from WWE, filling a roster spot. Just there. Had some good tag matches with Keith Lee, right? I think they were I think they were doing some good stuff at the end of 2022, right?
They were. Yep.
But in 2023, it really turned on for Swerve. He had some incredible matches with a bunch of guys. The feud with Hangman was really good. And he has now become one of the top stars in AEW. If you look at the landscape of all elite wrestling and you want to rank the top 10 male stars in the company, Swerve is among those guys. He may be top 5 right now. As far as the active guys in AEW, Swerve has put himself up among the elite in all elite wrestling. He's up there with Moxley, with the Danielsons, with Hangman, with MJF, with Samoa Joe. He's up in that league. And I think he's only scratched the surface with how far he can climb. So Swerve and LA Knight this year, I think both really good examples of guys who kind of came from one place and elevated to a next level where they're now main eventers. They went from the mid-card to the main event, and in 2024, it looks like sky's the limit. World championships could be around the corner for both guys. I think Swerve not only could be, but should be the AEW World Champion in 2024.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah,
I think it's about time. Sure. It's about time. Swerve should be the AEW champion in 2024. If I had to pick a next champ in AEW past MJF, past Samoa Joe, or whatever, I would go with Swerve. Over Darby, over Christian, over, I don't even know who else is in the conversation right now. Hangman, maybe. But, if I'm picking the next champ, it's Swerve. Moxley, Swerve.
I think Ospreay is in the conversation, though.
Sure, but he's new. He hasn't really been in the company. I think Swerve should be champion in 2024 in AEW. I think by the end of 2024, by this time next year, Swerve should have had a run or should be the current champion.
See, that's barring what I'm kind of looking at. this time next year, I see if Ospreay's not the champion, he's definitely like gunning for the title.
Yep. He should be in the mix. But, I mean, look what has happened to Jay White.
I mean, he had a shot. You can't deny that. He had a shot.
Yeah, but it didn't happen for him.
No, it did not happen for him.
It's another thing getting over in AEW compared to getting over in Japan. You got to get over with the promos, too. You got to get over with more than the wrestling. And I think Jay White, it hasn't connected. I don't think the Bullet Club Gold group has really connected. I don't think the Jay White, Juice Robinson, Ass Boys group has connected, and that's why Jay White has not caught fire in AEW. And he seems like a guy who came in as a main eventer who's now dropped down to the mid-card, which is not the direction you want to go in. And I don't think it's the direction AEW really wants him to go in, but that's where it's headed. Well, and I could see Ospreay going in that same way. Like, you get over in Japan, that's one thing. You're getting over on your work. You're not getting over on your promos. You're not getting over on your gimmick. In the States, it's different. So, I've never seen Will Ospreay with a microphone in his hand in the middle of the ring talking. Never seen it. Ever.
Well, no, he did. He was at the last pay-per-view.
Did he do... Oh, yeah, but he wasn't by himself. Didn't he have Shivani there holding his hand?
Sure, but he kind of took the mic from him, if I'm not mistaken, and did this babyface promo, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, but that wasn't a promo. That was just him talking. That was just Will Ospreay saying, hey, I've got to go to Japan and finish some stuff, but then I'll be back in AEW to have great matches for you. Like, that wasn't a promo. That wasn't like, hey, I'm going to talk about my opponent for this next match of this pay-per-view. Let me go out for 10 minutes and talk about him and be entertaining and do that thing. That is not what he did, and that I don't think I've ever seen him do. So that is a big part of American wrestling. That is not a big part of Japanese wrestling because they're not trying to hear English promos. They don't do a lot of that. They do a lot of the in-ring action, and that's how you get over. There's backstage stuff that they do in press conferences, but it's different, but it's not the same as a live mic in front of a crowd where they're yelling things at you, and you got to react, and you got to be able to be on your toes. I hope Will Ospreay becomes the biggest star in the world in AEW, and it goes really well. I'm just saying he's a great wrestler. He's one of the best in the world. Don't know if it'll translate over in AEW. I don't know if he'll become the world champion. A lot of people have come into AEW, and you have high expectations for them, and then, you wonder what happened.
Yeah, no, it's true. Hopefully, we're not thinking that next year, but wait and see.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a possibility, and I look at Swerve, and it's like, well, he's not like a maybe what if he gets over in AEW. He's over in AEW. Big time.
Yeah.
Big time over. So, let's go with Swerve.
It's amazing, too. Last year, you wouldn't have thought this, too, especially the way it was going. With the whole angle with the Mogul Embassy, and he had the other goons that were just like, what the heck is this?
Yes.
They just disappeared.
Yes.
It wasn't going in a great direction, but he turned it around.
It was going terribly. And he really turned it around. So good for Swerve. Congratulations. Breakout star of the year in AEW. And that's about it, John. Actually, one more thing. We are previewing AEW World's End, but, AEW does a lot of work with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I thought it would be important to mention that New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom is next Thursday. January 4th every year, they do their biggest show of the year, right? The WrestleMania of New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know if you know this, too, but they fired their old president, and their new president of New Japan Pro Wrestling is Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace. He now runs the show.
I saw the reasons behind that, too, apparently because Okada wasn't getting along with the old president, and they feel he'd get along with Tanahashi better, I guess.
They want to sign Okada to that big long-term contract. They don't want to lose Okada, and they figure Tana is the best man for the job. And he may be. Everybody loves Tanahashi. He is the man. Let me tell you a little bit about this card. Speaking of Okada, he's going to be wrestling the best wrestler in the world, Bryan Danielson, on this show. Probably going to get his win back from the Forbidden Door. So,
sounds like it.
Bryan's going to Japan. I mean, that's going to be a hell of a match. I fear for Bryan's safety wrestling Okada in the Tokyo Dome. Like, that's...
Whoa. Broke his arm, broke his eye. Like, what's next? Like, break his soul? Like,
I don't know. But, I mean, that match is going to be crazy, John. Bryan versus Okada. Okada will definitely win, but man, Bryan is going to the Tokyo Dome to wrestle on Wrestle Kingdom. If that's not a reason to tune in, what are you doing?
it is like at 5 o'clock in the morning, no?
Yeah, but you watch the replay. I mean, who's watching live? Not me.
Not you. Wow.
I'm not going to get up that early in the morning, John. Not if I don't have to. I mean, I'll probably wake up and it'll still be going on because I think it may start at 4 a.m., but it goes till like, 8 or 9.
10.
12. Maybe 10. Yeah, it's long. It's a long show. There's 11 matches announced so far. Sanada will defend the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against the winner of the G1 and his former team member in Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito. I think Naito may win the belt here. I'm going with Naito. Naito versus Sanada. It's a match we've seen many times before in New Japan. It's not something that I'm super hyped for, but I know it will deliver. Naito, Sanada, two legends of New Japan at this point. World title on the line. I'm going with Tetsuya!
Well, it's been a while since Naito's been champion, no?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's been maybe a couple of years.
He was weird at Forbidden Door. Like, it seemed like he wasn't really going to wrestle, and then out of nowhere he wrestled. But it was kind of like not much happened in that match with him.
Mm-hmm. That's Naito. He's an artist.
Okay.
You never know what he might do or feel like. Sometimes he's not in the mood and he just doesn't give everything.
Okay.
That's how he is. Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley versus David Finlay. That is Fit Finlay's son, David Finlay. It's a 3-way for the inaugural IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. They're getting rid of the United States Heavyweight Championship and now making it the global title. Moxley, Ospreay, Finlay in a triple threat should be pretty good. I think Finlay will win because he's the only guy staying in New Japan after this. But cool match.
Oh, yeah. So, technically, Ospreay's still the champion going into this match, right?
Yeah, I think so. It may be a vacant belt. I think it's vacant.
Oh, okay. I thought it was them just like switching the title like they did with Orange Cassidy.
No, I don't think so. I think the belt has been retired and this is a new belt.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah. Should go to Finlay. Hiromu Takahashi defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against El Desperado. That should be good. Gotta love Desperado and, of course, Hiromu, one of my favorites. Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi defending the IWGP Tag Team Championship against the Gorillas of Destiny, Hikuleo and El Phantasmo, who will be defending their strong openweight Tag Team Championship. So a tag team unification bout there. Shingo Takagi defending his never openweight title against Tama Tonga. That's pretty solid. Shota Umino and Kaita Kiyomiya taking on Evil and Ren Narita. Yota Tsuji taking on Yuya Uemura in a one-on-one match. Zack Sabre Jr. defending the New Japan World Television Championship against the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, which is cool. ZSJ versus Tanahashi. And Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney taking on TJP and Francesco Akira. And, of course, the New Japan Rambo in the pre-show. A 20-man Royal Rumble-style match. I think it's 20-man. Maybe 30. Maybe 40. I think it changes. But it's a New Japan Rambo. It's called Ranbo, R-A-N-B-O. It's just a Japanese mispronunciation of the word, or misspelling of the word rumble. It's the New Japan Rumble, but they call it the New Japan Ranbo because the L sound is like not something in Japan that they have, so it's Ranbo. New Japan, they call it the New Japan Ranbo because they couldn't say Rumble. They can't pronounce the word Rumble.
Or they just can't pronounce it.
Well, when they say Rumble, they say Rambo. Rambo. Like it sounds like Rumble, but they say Ranbo. Because the L sound is difficult for them to pronounce. As you may well know from people that do the accent, it's offensive. They shouldn't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm trying to avoid doing it. I want to do it to demonstrate for you how it sounds, but I don't want to do it because it'll be offensive. But you understand what I mean. New Japan Ranbo. I just think it's funny that they just changed the name of. They just changed the word. They're like, it's not a Rumble, it's a Ranbo. 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 But I know what they mean. Maybe they couldn't call it Rumble because of WWE. Who knows? Who knows?
I think just because you're mentioning Japan, we should give a shout out to a good friend of ours, the Green Phantom, who's making his debut in Japan. Or made his debut in Japan today and tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Where's he check out his Instagram. Japan? It's in Tokyo.
No, like the wrestling company, I'm saying.
That's a great question, what the company is exactly.
Okay.
I was trying to look it up at the same time.
Well, that's cool. So congratulations. Good for him. Wrestling out in Japan. And, of course, maybe he'll check out the Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe he's in town and he'll be able to check that out. I'm sure a lot of big wrestling shows going on, a lot of little wrestling shows, big wrestling shows going on around Tokyo, around the Wrestle Kingdom, kind of like WrestleMania, right? Draws in a lot of wrestling shows around the world. New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom, a big event that wrestling fans travel to, and that going down next Thursday, January 4th. At the Tokyo Dome. And Johnny North will be back here tomorrow night, right after AEW's World's End pay-per-view. We will review the action here on the Ringside Report Network. And that's about it. We have done it all. We have said it all. I want to shout out Harold Schneider. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you, Harold. Shout out to all the members as well. Harold, Angelo, Leor. Those are the members I saw in the chat here tonight. Thank you for supporting the Ringside Report Network, guys. And we will be back again tomorrow night for the real final show for the Ringside Report Network of 2023. Shout out to Eagle 999 watching us over on Rumble or Ranbo. And shout out to Angelo dropping the super chat, new super chat leader of the night. Says, thank you for another great year of content, guys. You guys rock. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you for supporting. And Jimmy James just checking in says, what did I miss? I guess some people are just checking in now at 10 o'clock saying, whoa, the show is over. Yeah, we started at 8 tonight because there was no Smackdown. Bit of a holiday schedule for us. We started a little early tonight. But here's the great part about YouTube, Jimmy. You can now rewind to the beginning and catch everything. We talked about the WWE house show we went to last night in Laval, Quebec. We talked about AEW's World's End and AEW, and we previewed that. We reviewed AEW Dynamite from tonight, and we also talked about the best of the year in 2023 in professional wrestling. Yes, it's over. It's 10 p.m. You can rewind. Don't worry. We'll be back next week at our regular time of 10 p.m. after a new episode of SmackDown, which should be good. They've got new Raws and new SmackDown next week, so that'll be good. So that will be on next week, and we'll be back tomorrow night. Jimmy, if you like chatting, you can check us out tomorrow night after World's End.
Leave a comment.
There you go. Leave a comment. And, watch the show and then leave comments. And then you can tune in as well tomorrow night after World's End. But leave a comment here, like the video, subscribe to the channel right here on the Ringside Report Network. We'll be on after World's End tomorrow. And, yes, we're on a bit early tonight because of reasons. right? No SmackDown. Usually we're on after SmackDown, but if there's no SmackDown, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? I was ready, John. I was ready.
It's also good to get some sleep because we're not going to get much sleep tomorrow.
There you go. All right, so we'll see you again tomorrow night after AEW World's End right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you